What is up, everybody? You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now, and we're live right here on Chat Sports on this beautiful Wednesday. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making us a part of your day on this beautiful May 22nd, 2024. Eagles OTAs from the NovaCare Complex going down right now as we speak, and coming up here on the show, we'll give you some live updates as far as what is happening from the practice field for the Birds. So coming up here on the show, let's get to the rundown here. Live updates from OTAs. We're going to go through 10 players who will ball out under the new coordinators in Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. And of course, we'll pass along the latest Eagles news, the latest Eagles rumors, the latest Eagles analysis. And of course, as we always do, you're going to be a critical part of the show. We're going to open up the floor, take your questions for an Eagles Now mailbag. You can start to get those questions in right now by using the hashtag Eagles or sending in a super chat. And this right here is a beautiful sight, ladies and gentlemen. The Philadelphia Eagles on the practice field in their practice gear for OTAs. This is the first session that is open to the media. The Birds did practice on Monday, off day Tuesday, back at it here on Wednesday, and there's a lot of really fascinating tidbits coming from practice right now that we're about to pass along throughout the duration of this live show. Here you see the Eagles lined up. They just got done their drills at the NovaCare Complex as well. Our poll question today is this: which player are you most excited to hear about during Eagles OTAs? Saquon Barkley at 42%. Quinion Mitchell at 34%. Cooper DeJean at 18%. And then I have the other option listed as other, name who, that's at 6% right now. My guy Brandon Forbes said Jake Elliott. A couple of other people dropping some names as well. Continue to be a part of the show. And also, as you venture in here, I need everybody right now to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Let's get the comment section going. We have not gone live since the NFL draft. It's been a minute. Couple of weeks ago, I traveled to Washington, D.C. and Maryland for my sister's bachelorette. We've been ramping up the NBA coverage as myself and producer Chip, who's right here. We've been doing a lot of Sixers coverage on 76ers now, but we're back in the saddle here, live on Eagles Now, giving you some updates from Philadelphia Eagles OTAs. Heekin said he's excited to see Devin White. Kaka Monster, I'm glad you're doing a live stream. Thank you, brother. Jake Lee is in Arizona. Awfully Hot Coffee Pot is watching all the way from Germany. That's incredible right there. Please continue to let us know where you're watching from. And again, support the program. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. The more likes that we get, more people who find the stream, and then they discover how glorious our coverage is here on Eagles Now. Here's our Super Chat menu for today, by the way. $5 Super Chat. We're doing some smelling salts. The Eagles are obviously not playing a game, but they're practicing. We got to get amped up as well. $10. Let's make some Eagles chants ring throughout the entire Chat Sports office here and make our neighbors who are into real estate understand that this is an Eagles show that's live right now. $20, we'll crack a drink. $50, I will do a beer bong. And if you send in a $100 super chat, we want to thank you for supporting the program, and we will send you a Cooper DeJean shirt. You can be a part of the show as part of our mailbag by using the hashtag Eagles or sending in a super chat. And if you're ready to talk some Birds right now, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, EAGLES, Eagles! And let me welcome in producer Chip, who's on the ones and twos. My right-hand man just went through a big upgrade. On Monday, he moved from one spot to another. He's balling out in this new apartment. Woo! He's got a new haircut. He's feeling good about himself.
Come on now, baby. Football's back. I had to get right. Had to get right for the people. Let's go. We're getting some on-field action. I love it, man. So exciting.
So we have almost 200 people watching live. Only 35 likes. I told you, our neighbors here in our building, they're real estate agents. And we're making all this noise right now, but we only have 36 likes with almost 200 people watching live. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. As for some happenings from the NovaCare complex for Eagles OTAs and Chip, you could pop up that picture because the Eagles just got done their stretching. And right now, they are doing some drills and position work. Some players not there. James Bradbury, Jake Elliott, CJ Uzama, Lane Johnson, Keely Ringo. Those are some of the players who were not there at what is, by the way, a voluntary practice. OTA standing for Organized Team Activities. And then you think about some of the intriguing positional battles that are going to be fascinating storylines for this team as we look ahead to training camp and the regular season. And of course, you have to factor in some of the players who are not at practice today. Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell are getting second-team reps at corner. Quinion Mitchell is playing outside corner, and Cooper DeJean, as I predicted, is playing nickel corner. As for the starting corners on the first-string defense, it's Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, and Isaiah Rodgers. So Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers on the outside with Avonte Maddox in the slot. Saquon Barkley looks to be in fantastic shape. And some of the Eagles reporters who are on hand here at the NovaCare complex are saying, I have not seen an Eagles running back who looks this big in an Eagles practice uniform in a very, very long time. Jalen Hurts, sharp to start practice. He completed every pass that he attempted in 7-on-7 drills, most of them to A.J. Brown. And I think it's really fascinating here that Cooper DeJean is working in the slot. We're going to talk about Cooper DeJean coming up here in just a little while. And then with Devontae Parker retiring for Philadelphia on Monday night, a big question for the Birds, who's going to be wide receiver 3? Right now, the starting wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Paris Campbell, who has 4.3 speed, but his size impressing some people. The same can be said as far as the size goes for Johnny Wilson, who stands at 6'6". He's the largest and tallest wide receiver in the National Football League. As for some other notes here from practice, Kenny Pickett with a nice pass down the middle to Albert Okwuegbunam for about a 20-yard gain. That happened during 7-on-7s. And in case you're just joining us, the Eagles defense lining up with Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers as the outside corners with Avonte Maddox in the slot. And then another position group that we're very curious about, off-ball linebacker. Nakobe Dean is coming off a couple of foot injuries to both of his feet. So the off-ball linebackers, Devin White, that was chalk. But how about Zach Bond as the other starting off-ball linebacker under Vic Fangio? With the New Orleans Saints last year, he was primarily a blitzing outside linebacker, but we've talked about this here on the show. Vic Fangio alluded to the fact that Zach Bond, he believes, can play a little bit of off-ball linebacker. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship are the starting safeties, and again, James Bradbury, Keely Ringo, not there. Paris Campbell in the slot for Philadelphia, and then I'm looking at some other notes here. Other players who were not on hand for these voluntary practices for Eagles OTAs, James Bradbury, Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, Josh Sweat, and Keely Ringo. All right, we have 240 people watching live, and we're about to go through some of the most burning questions, marquee storylines, positional battles, and some major Eagles news and rumors with OTAs underway. But with this many people watching live, we have 60 likes right now. Can we get to 100 likes before we start the show? We only need 40 more, and we always try to shoot for about a 50% viewer participation rate. Sean Harding, Kaka Monster, Andrew Nathan, Awfully Hot Coffee Pot, Band Up Fresh, all in the chat. I also have to give a shout out to the wonderful and beautiful Angela G, who put together this art piece for me Eagles Now by Chat Sports on the football. God bless you, Chase, on the bottom of the football with all of these great colors here. You have the Eagles logo right here. She drew this for me, put it together and sent it to me. I wanted to say thank you to one of our loyal subscribers who right now is undergoing a cancer battle, but she is fighting so valiantly and setting an example of positivity, hope, and toughness for so many people out there. Angela G., if you're watching, we love you. Continue that fight. 14 likes away from 100. Patrick Maynard saying, let's go Eagles. Sean Harding saying, that's hella cool. Jerwan Greer watching from Mississippi. Disrupty with the heart emoji for Angela. My name is Juan, who's going to be a part of the show from Carmen Santiago. Benny Boom 68 is in the chat. Bob Noble is here. Ernesto is here saying go Birds. And let's pop up the super chat menu one more time as we're 2 likes away from 100. And then we'll get the official show started. If you want to donate to the show, I see my boy Lion Fighter, Burgang Tommy V, the real ones in the building. $5, we're doing some smelling salts. The Eagles are practicing. We're going to get woke up too. $10, Eagles chant. $20, we're cracking a drink, even though it's 12:30 Central Time. $50, we're doing a beer bong. And if you support the show with the $100 super chat, we will send you a Cooper DeJean shirt. All right, the show is about to get underway. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Let's talk about Birds OTAs underway right now. All right, here we go. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And on the docket, some major Eagles news and rumors with OTAs underway from the NovaCare Complex in South Philadelphia. It's a beautiful sight to see the Eagles on the practice field today. And we're going to go through the most burning questions, the biggest positional battles, and the biggest buzz around this team with OTAs in session. And question number 1, who is the Philadelphia Eagles right guard? Tyler Steen figures to get the first crack at earning the starting role, but there are a couple of other players who could be in the mix for the starting right guard spot, flanking to Lane Johnson's left and to Cam Jurgens' right, and that includes Matt Hennessy as well as Trevor Keegan. And Philadelphia, in the post-Jason Kelce era, one of the greatest players in the history of this franchise, one of the best centers in the history of the National Football League, who embodied what it's like to be a Philadelphia Eagle. The Birds will miss his all-pro level play, as well as his personality and him being a team captain. But still, the Eagles' offensive line has the makings of being one of the best in the National Football League. Jordan Mailata, the number 3 highest graded offensive tackle in the NFL last year. He was rewarded with a contract extension. So too is Landon Dickerson, who's one of the most physical and best left guards in the NFL. He's now the highest paid guard in the history of football. Cam Jurgens has big shoes to fill. But as we saw with how he had to play center in the preseason 2 years ago as a rookie, as the backup to Jason Kelce, he has the mobility, the athleticism, and the movement skills to get out in space on those pull blocks and be a good center in this league. And of course, the big question, who's going to be the right guard? The Birds drafted Tyler Steen in the 3rd round out of Alabama in the 2023 NFL draft. He primarily played left tackle at Alabama and Vanderbilt in his college career, but look, Jeff Stoutland is the best offensive line coach in the NFL, and if he's high on Tyler Steen, I am as well. And then Lane Johnson still continues to be the best right tackle in the game. As for Matt Hennessy here, he went to Temple University. He was a high-round pick by the Atlanta Falcons. He was an Ivy League recruit coming out of high school, so he's got the brains. He has positional versatility. He can play center. He can play guard. Trevor Keegan, who started at Michigan last year, only primarily played left guard at the college level. So can he switch and play right guard? The job at that position is Tyler Steen's to lose. Question number 2, where will Cooper DeJean line up? Now, Eagles OTAs officially started on Monday. They had an off day on Tuesday. Today, Wednesday, is the first time that the media is on hand on the sideline at the NovaCare complex. And right now, we just learned that Cooper DeJean is lining up with Quinion Mitchell as a cornerback on the second string defense. Quinion Mitchell is on the outside. And as I predicted, Cooper DeJean is lining up at nickel. Now, he played outside corner at Iowa, didn't play a lot in the slot. The Eagles listed him strictly as a corner when they drafted him. Howie Roseman talked about him as a corner when they drafted him, not as a safety. And what's interesting is that, look, we're in the early going of the offseason. Practice is just getting underway. We're talking about a rookie who's trying to master the defensive scheme right now. But I think at some point, once he gets his feet wet, Vic Fangio is going to be able to use Cooper DeJean as a chess piece. Because at Iowa, he lined up a little bit of everywhere. Now, primarily outside corner, 630 snaps there. But lined up along the defensive line in the box for 28 snaps. He was only in the slot for 23 snaps. So right now, he's starting off as a nickel corner for the second string defense. That's what we learned today on the first day that the media was able to see OTA practices. In the box, in addition to the defensive line, 23 snaps. He only played deep once. So one snap at safety for Cooper DeJean last year at Iowa. Question number 3, who takes wide receiver 3? We also learned something today from Eagles OTAs. Devontae Parker retired, surprisingly, on Monday night. Paris Campbell should get the first crack. Will Ainias Smith and Johnny Wilson mix in to get those wide receiver 3 opportunities? Ainias Smith missed rookie minicamp with a stress fracture in his foot. Johnny Wilson is tall, tallest wide receiver in the NFL actually, at 6'6", but sometimes he plays a little bit smaller, not a refined route runner. He's more of a developmental piece. And right now, Paris Campbell is getting the first crack at wide receiver 3 alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts in 7-on-7s, by the way, slinging the rock to A.J. Brown. Very accurate to start practice. The issue with Paris Campbell is not his speed, ladies and gentlemen. He clocked a 4.3 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process. The issue coming out of Ohio State and since entering the NFL has been staying healthy. He was a second-round pick because he was a burner, had good production with the Buckeyes, but games by year, a massive problem. Rookie year, only 7 games with 3 starts. 2020, 2 games, 2 starts, cut short because of injury. 2021, 6 games with 3 starts. 2022, he had a pretty good year, and we'll look at those numbers here in a moment. 17 games with 16 starts. And in 2023, 12 games with 3 starts. He was a healthy scratch at the end of the year for the New York Giants. Going back to that 2022 season, this is what Paris Campbell is capable of. And if the Eagles get this production from their wide receiver 3, it's so much better than what they got from Quez Watkins. And Campbell has the speed of Watkins. And if you pair this with the production that you imagine you'll get from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it just makes this offense much more well-rounded. Paris Campbell, 91 targets, 63 catches, 623 yards, only 9.9 yards per catch. That number a little bit lower from a player who has that vertical speed, and he had 3 touchdowns. Those numbers coming again. His only full season in the National Football League back in 2022. Now, we are live right now on Eagles Now. A lot of you are watching this video after the fact. We have almost 400 people watching our live show as we go through all of the latest storylines from OTAs reporting live on what's happening on the practice field. This is why you subscribe to the channel. No other Eagles content creator is live right now doing what we do, and I don't think anybody on YouTube does what we do. There are so many talented content creators out there, but I believe our coverage is informative, insightful, entertaining, and it involves you. And as you can see, that's a big reason why we're the largest Eagles channel out there on YouTube, 196 people away from 75,000 subscribers. Also, Cooper DeJean, I'm excited about him. I'm looking at our live poll. A lot of people excited to hear about him during Eagles OTAs. You can get your Cooper DeJean shirts at chatsports.com/DeJean. They are available in Kelly Green as well as black. We're going to put that link down below in the show notes, attached to the pinned comment, and in the description of this video. let's move forward here. Question number 4, what does the linebacker position look like? And we also have some takeaways from practice today as far as what the linebacker position looks like. Devin White and Nakobe Dean are the projected starters, but Dean is coming off separate foot injuries. Does Zack Baun get reps? I put that question together before the Eagles took the practice field. The answer to that question is yes, because Zack Baun and Devin White are the starting off-ball inside linebackers for Philadelphia for this first public practice. Now, you look at the Eagles linebacker depth chart, I think that when Nakobe Dean does come back, he's going to get the opportunity to start alongside Devin White. But Vic Fangio, of note, in his first press conference as the Eagles defensive coordinator, did reveal that he believes Zack Baun can play off-ball linebacker because with the New Orleans Saints, he did not do a lot of that. He was primarily an outside linebacker who blitzed the quarterback, but Fangio likes his coverage skills. It's going to be a good training camp battle here for Philadelphia. Question number 5, a sneaky quarterback 2 battle I think could take place in training camp. Now, this first public practice, it's Kenny Pickett, who's the backup to Jalen Hurts. That's what we expected, and Tanner McKee being that third stringer. Kenny Pickett also off to a pretty good start, threw a 20-yard dart down the field to tight end Albert Okwuegbunam. And with what the Eagles gave up for Pickett, they clearly believe in the player who grew up in Jersey as an Eagles fan, originally committed to play at Temple University under Matt Rule before he switched to go to the Pitt, put up great numbers there, has started a lot of games with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those numbers, Jekyll and Hyde, up and down, inconsistent, but I don't believe that he was surrounded with a good complementary cast of players. Most importantly, his offensive coordinator for much of his tenure with the Steelers, Matt Canada, who should not be an offensive coordinator in this league. Matt Canada, Kellen Moore, as far as results, creativity, and elevating quarterback play. And I'm excited to see Tanner McKee. To have a quality third stringer like him, that's a good thing to have because he was impressive in the preseason last year out of Stanford as a rookie. Question number 6, how will Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore impact things? There are going to be schematic changes and alterations and differences, and I think all of those will be very notable. The one thing that I continue to go back to and why I think the Eagles are going to be drastically improved on both sides of the ball in 2024 as compared to 2023 is the experience of Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. Kellen Moore consistently has had a top 5 offense when he's been in OC with Dallas, and then last year wasn't great with the Chargers, but they suffered a bunch of injuries. He's been a play caller in this league for a really, really long time, and his offenses have been top 5, highly productive, run, pass, scoring a lot of points. And then Vic Fangio, you see the markings and the fingerprints of his defensive scheme littered across the entire NFL. And when Brian Johnson was the OC, he had no play calling experience. Kellen Moore has a lot. When Sean Desai was the DC last year, he had 1 year of play calling experience. Vic Fangio has a lot. And I think that seasoning is really going to help Philadelphia be a better football team. Question number 7, how will the new players look for Philadelphia? Because as we know, and as is the case all the time, Howie Roseman, very busy in free agency, very busy in the NFL draft. To give you a refresher, the notable offseason additions for the Birds: running back Saquon Barkley, edge rusher Bryce Huff, safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson, draftees Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, Devin White, the linebacker in free agency, Mekhi Becton as a backup swing tackle with the player who has so much natural physical ability, and then Kenny Pickett, QB2, behind Jalen Hurts. These notable offseason additions, I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, the starting safeties in practice on Wednesday. And then Saquon Barkley. It's so funny to see Eagles reporters react to the physicality that he has because they said he's the biggest, most physically imposing running back the Eagles have had in a really, really long time. I get it. Miles Sanders, fellow Penn Stater, productive player. When you talk about physical stature, he's not close to the thigh god that Saquon Barkley is and the quad god that Saquon Barkley is. Next up, question number 8. What do the injury recoveries look like for Philadelphia. We're going to take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles injury report here. A big reason why DeJean is not the starting off-ball linebacker. He's coming off 2 separate foot injuries. A reason why Sidney Brown is not practicing and is not partaking in drills at the safety spot. He's coming off that torn ACL in January. So Brown with the ACL, DeJean with the separate foot injuries. Ainias Smith did not partake in rookie minicamp because of a stress fracture in his foot. And then you have backup cornerback Zech McPherson, who's really going to be battling to make this roster, maybe as a special teamer. But the Eagles have really grown their depth at that quarterback spot. He suffered a torn Achilles in the preseason back in August. And then question number 9, who shows up? Right now, we know a couple of players who have not shown up. That includes James Bradbury, not a good look. Keely Ringo, not a good look. You're competing for a roster spot and for some snaps at that cornerback spot. I get it. It's voluntary practices, but I would feel guilty if Chat Sports held a voluntary practice session, and as one of the faces of this company, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit at the crib. I'm not going to go. That's just not how I go about things. Now, for a player like Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, they're not there. That's okay. Josh Sweat, also not there either. But it's always a good look to be present. That's my take on that. Question number 10, which unknown pops? There is bound to be a player at Eagles OTAs who's under the radar, who comes out of nowhere to steal the show and impress. And as I go through some more of the recent notes here from Eagles OTAs, Avonte Maddox taking some third-team safety reps, in addition to being the first-team nickel corner. Paris Campbell with the good contested catch. He's been impressive on this Wednesday. Britton Covey and Cooper DeJean are fielding punts. Ainias Smith standing with them, but not participating. So that goes to show he's probably still recovering from that stress fracture in his foot. Saquon Barkley in the 26 midnight green looks incredible. Saquon Barkley, a big part of the passing game so far. Jalen Hurts looking quicker than he did last year. There was a conspiracy theory that he was banged up. He's looking really healthy. And let's see. Jake Elliott, CJ Uzama also not there. And those are the takeaways from Eagles OTAs. It's great to talk about some actual football. If you enjoyed today's show, let's do a real one roll call. Type real one down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, we're so grateful for all of your support. All right, we got a couple of super chats to get to. Deadass Chat Sports is pound for pound the best sports media out there. Real one. Real one roll call. Everybody type LFX in the chat. Really appreciate that, my brother. And with the $5 super chat, the Eagles are practicing. We're going to get the juices flowing too.
Let's go, baby.
Hit some smelling salts. Sean Harding with the $10 super chat. Longtime fan from Olney. Watching from Arizona. Nice. So in the Philly area, that's where you're from. Love the work y'all do on this show. Would love to hear how you think the Birds plan to play this season with these new weapons that they have. Go Birds. Yeah, we've done a couple of depth chart breakdowns, positional battles. I mean, shoot, Sean, I know that you were tuned in before we started that segment, but we're going to obviously put that segment out additionally from our live show, and we went through a lot of the new weapons, a lot of the positional battles, but we'll continue to do that, my man. Really appreciate the support. A $10 super chat, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Sean Harding, excuse me, thank you so much for your support. All right, we're only getting underway here on the show. Segment number 2 is going to be players who we think ball out under the new coordinators in Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. And as part of that segment, we're going to give you a refresher, or we're going to teach you, if you don't know, what Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio are going to bring to Philadelphia as far as their schemes. And then after segment number 2, we are going to do a mailbag. Few ways for you to get involved. It's very easy. Get your questions in right now to be featured here on the show for thousands of people to see. Use hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat.
Get them going, baby. Got one from Cody English already. The only one, though. Cody English, and we got a couple super chats as well. We'll get Sean Harding, we'll get that in there in the mailbag. Get those in, baby.
We can only do a mailbag if you send in questions for us to answer as part of that mailbag. So use hashtag Eagles or super chat. All of you watching right now, you see how many comments come into the comment section, right? And it's a lot of them. But in order for Chip to filter through the questions, use hashtag Eagles. We put a filter on that. It just makes his job a lot easier. So if you have a question about the Eagles, free agency, draft, schedule, rumors, buzz, analysis, you have a hot take that you want to share, use the hashtag Eagles. All right, what other notes do we have here from Eagles OTAs? Let's see. Jalen Hurts, sharp to start practice. He completed every pass that he attempted, at least at the start, for 7-on-7s. Most of them to A.J. Brown. Cooper DeJean working in the slot with the second team. Johnny Wilson looking big.
No surprise there.
No surprise there. Can he play big? That's the big question.
Let's see. Covey and DeJean taking reps at punt returner.
Yep. Avonte Maddox, third team safety reps. I wouldn't look further into that just because Sidney Brown is hurt. But in the wild card round against Tampa Bay, he did have to play safety because Sidney Brown was injured. Unspoken words, lion fighter, getting those questions in. King Eagle. Make sure you use hashtag Eagles because you talking about Zach Bond is certainly great for our mailbag. Millie315, one of our legends here on the show, using hashtag Eagles as well. All right, so coming up next, please make sure, by the way, you continue to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. We are 48 likes away from 200 with almost 400 people watching live. We had 450 people watching live that last segment. For the middle of the day on a Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Great numbers here. Very pleased with it, but we're never satisfied. Continue to like the video. Get some more people in here. And let's shift gears to segment number 2. Tiffany Leaks using hashtag Eagles. Aaron Charles, I see you as well. We'll get to that mailbag right after this upcoming segment right now. Yo, what's good? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles. Now I'm Chase Sr. and coming up, we're going to talk about 10 Eagles who will ball out under the team's new coordinators, and offensive coordinator Kellen Moore and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. And we're going to give you a refresher as far as what Moore and Fangio bring to this team with their respective schemes offensively and defensively. You're going to be informed on today's show, and that's why we do what we do. First, if you're excited for the 2024 Eagles season, I'm jacked up. I'm hype. If you're with me, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Eagles OTAs got underway this week. We've had the opportunity to look at this roster, see clips of the Eagles on the practice field. It gets the juices flowing, and with that, naturally, we're talking some football here on the show this week. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. All right, let's get the show underway here. What changes can we expect with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio taking over for Brian Johnson and Sean Desai as the offensive and defensive coordinators for the Philadelphia Eagles here in 2024? Let's start off on the offensive side of the rock. What you can expect from Kellen Moore, it's going to be much different from Brian Johnson's offensive play calling and Nick Sirianni's offensive scheme. With Moore, you're going to see an aggressive passing attack. He uses a lot of shifts and motions. He has a lot of creative packages and formations in which he can flex positions out wide and put them in positions that we don't normally see in a Nick Sirianni offense. The offensive system is malleable. He makes quality adjustments in-game and throughout the season, and he really does have a diverse running game. I think back to when Kellen Moore was the OC for the Dallas Cowboys. That's when Ezekiel Elliott was a highly productive running back, one of, if not the best running backs in the league, and a lot of that was because of the play calling, the play designs, and the scheme from Kellen Moore. Furthermore, here's what you can also expect from Moore. going specifically into those points that we just showed you on your screen, the pass game. He is going to stretch the field from sideline to sideline and vertically and challenge every blade of grass. He really likes play action and deep crosses. And with that play action, I think we might see Jalen Hurts operating from under center a little bit more as compared to the last couple of years. And with Hurts, Kellen Moore is going to try to get him in rhythm with clean throws from a clean pocket. The route tree for these Eagles wide receivers going to be much more diverse than last year, when a lot of the routes from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were simple routes, and because of that, everything seems so predictable because Nick Sirianni didn't make those adjustments, and he didn't even have pre-snap motion as Philadelphia was dead last in pre-snap motion rate. The unique and creative formation, something that I'm really excited to see, and what all of this does, it helps the offense create mismatches against the opposing defenses, because when you put a player in motion and you have these creative formations, it helps you get cues from the defensive alignment that the respective defense is in. Kellen Moore is going to favor a zone run scheme, very familiar to what the Eagles have done the last couple of seasons. The weakness for Kellen Moore, he is prone to giving up pressures at times because he will spread things out. They don't go a lot of bunch or heavy, but the creativity definitely going to be refreshing. And then with Vic Fangio, here's what you can expect from the new Eagles defensive coordinator, who's a defensive savant and is going to go down as one of the best defensive minds in the history of football. There is a looming question: has the modern-day offense found a way to beat a Vic Fangio-led defense? Maybe, but I thought Fangio's defense with Miami last year performed in a solid way considering the bevy of injuries that Miami had. It's going to be a 3-4 defense, a lot of nickel and 40 fronts, where you have a nose tackle lined up right over the center, and your inside linebacker is not going to really be a part of the blitz packages. He's going to play off ball a lot, but I do expect Vic Fangio to make some adjustments there with Devin White because he's capable of getting after the quarterback. Vic Fangio, a fan of man coverage principles that fits what Darius Slay and Quinion Mitchell are able to do. Has a lot of versatility in his defensive calls. His defense is designed to limit explosive plays. So because of that, he is not going to blitz a ton. He will blitz in a timely manner, but not going to blitz a lot. And because of that, some people might get frustrated by the Eagles playing off man because they're trying to avoid the explosive play and keep the opposing offense in front of them. And really, for a Vic Fangio defense to be successful, you have to win up front so that makes your secondary's job a lot easier. Now to the big question for today's show, and really two questions, I should say. Who balls out under Kellen Moore? Who balls out under Vic Fangio? Let's start off, once again, on the offensive side. Who balls out under Kellen Moore? I think it's these 5 players here. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, Saquon Barkley at running back, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as your wide receivers, and Dallas Goedert. You might look at that list and say, well, of course, Chase. Well, last year, it was very frustrating to watch this Eagles offensive unit. This year, I think it's going to be a more seamless and stress-free viewing experience for all of us, because you go through Kellen Moore's accomplishments as an offensive coordinator in this league. The Cowboys were ranked 6th, 17th, 1st, and 4th in Moore's 4 years in running the offense. The first year under Jason Garrett, and then 3 under Mike McCarthy. During Moore's 4 years in Dallas as OC and play caller, the Cowboys averaged 27.7 points per game. That was second most in the National Football League, behind who? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs at 28.8. And during his 5 years in Dallas as either quarterbacks coach or OC, the Cowboys had the 4th most passing yards in the NFL with 256 per game. So naturally, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be able to rebound and get back to the 2022 form. Dak Prescott played very well under Kellen Moore, at times a near MVP level. So naturally, I think Hurts will do the same, and he's going to have a really impressive 2024 campaign. And then you look at Saquon Barkley. Ezekiel Elliott highly productive, a dominant running back under Kellen Moore because he has trust in the running game. He's not going to stray away from it. And Saquon is insanely gifted. He has complementary weapons around him to make his job easier. And speaking of that point, finally a good offensive line. He did not have a quality offensive line, well, with the New York Giants. Then at the wide receiver position, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, they balled out with Kellen Moore calling and designing the plays. We've seen A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith ball out the last 2 years. And for Devontae Smith, that's now 3 years in a row that he's played very well for Philadelphia. I think they're going to be able to do the same. And if the corpse of Jason Witten, who came out of retirement and produced under Kellen Moore, and Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, they can have good seasons at the tight end position, Dallas Goedert can as well. Now, he's going to be asked to block because that's a strength of his. But when you spread the field out, what happens when you also have a really good running game? The middle of the field, it's going to be open for Dallas Goedert to make some splash plays. Be sure to hit that sub button here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. We are 196 people away from 75,000 subscribers. If you want daily coverage of the Birds, lock us in today. Also, make sure you lock in PrizePicks if you're looking to get involved with some daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks makes daily fantasy so easy, where all you have to do is pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Our future selections for the Birds: A.J. Brown, more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns all year. Jalen Hurts, more than 3,675.5 passing yards. Saquon Barkley, I love this one if he can stay healthy. More than 1,055.5 rushing yards. And then Derrick Henry, because you have to pick a player from a different team in order for the pick to go through, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns. Win big money. Withdraw your winnings within the PrizePicks app. Pick more, pick less. Pick PrizePicks at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now, who will ball out under Vic Fangio here? As we flip the page to the defensive side of the pill. Devin White, linebacker. Safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Bryce Huff, newly acquired edge rusher. Second-year sophomore player Nolan Smith at edge rusher as well. And then Jalen Carter at defensive tackle. For Devin White, I've seen the comments. A lot of you are not high on him, or at least as high on him as I am. But Vic Fangio has a history of being a linebackers coach, and then as a DC, as a head coach, developing good linebackers. And I think it's going to bring the best out of Devin White. He's on a 1-year deal, a prove-it deal. He's a former All-Pro. He has 4.4, 4.5 speed, great size, can get after the quarterback, good coverage skills, especially when targeted last year. He wants to prove that he can be a good player in this league, and with the quality coaching of Fangio, I think that happens, and I think he balls out. I think he's a good scheme fit as an off-ball linebacker. For C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Vic Fangio is going to be able to use C.D. Deuce everywhere. Safety, nickel, hybrid linebacker. And the last 2 years, he's intercepted a bunch of balls. And with the Eagles, back in 2022, he tied with Justin Simmons for the most picks in the National Football League. Last year, he got hurt with the season-ending injury with Detroit, came back for the playoffs. But anytime he's on the field for an elongated period of time, it seems though C.J. Gardner-Johnson makes a big play, and I think Fangio is going to get creative with where he can play him. And then Bryce Huff. We're talking about a UDFA here who latched on with the New York Jets, has grown and developed, but I think he's still just scratching the surface of what he can become. He's an emerging young pass rusher in this league who had 10 sacks last year, and Vic Fangio is going to allow him to kind of get aggressive, tap into his strengths, and he's going to have to fill in the shoes of Haason Reddick, double-digit sack seasons the last 2 years for Philadelphia, and because of that, Bryce Huff is going to have some advantageous opportunities to notch some sacks for the Birds. The same could be said for Nolan Smith, but I'm excited to see Nolan Smith going into year 2, bulking up a little bit, the shoulder is healthy, the burst, the twitch, the athleticism, all of those traits are there for Nolan Smith to be a successful player in this league. And I've said this a couple of times here on the show. It's so hard to gauge who played well last year and who played poorly because the scheme and the play calling situationally and then game long was terrible. Vic Fangio just understands the nuances of football. And what do good coaches do? They put their players in a position to succeed, and I think that's going to happen with all of these players here. And then Jalen Carter. All-world ability. We saw it at the start to the middle portion of last year. Now he understands what it takes to keep his level of stamina going throughout an entire NFL season. I thought he got tired at the end of last year because he's not used to playing that much at the NFL level. If he keeps his head on straight, Jalen Carter can be one of the best defensive tackles in the game, and Vic Fangio can help him do that. And then bonus, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. DeJean, a chess piece. Public practice, OTAs on Wednesday. DeJean lined up as a nickel corner for the second string defense. But like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you can kind of put him anywhere because he's a playmaker. And then Quinion Mitchell has those lockdown cornerback skills, and he's a good scheme fit for what Fangio wants to do. So with that, we leave you with this. Who will ball out under Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio? Let us know down in the comment section right now. Don't forget to hit that sub button. Thanks as always for tuning in. All right, let's give you some updates here from Eagles OTAs. Quinion Mitchell with the pass breakup on a Kenny Pickett throw intended for Johnny Wilson.
Nice.
He jumped the route to break it up. He's been a pass breakup machine the last 2 years. And in case you're just joining us, James Bradbury, not at OTAs. So because of that, the starting corners, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers on the outside, with Devontae Maddox in the slot, and Devontae Maddox also getting some third-team safety reps. I think for him, he's been injured so much. We know that he's a solid player. He just has to stay healthy. If he can add something different to his arsenal with positional versatility, really helps his chances of making the team, but also getting some snaps.
Apparently, there was a lot of pre-snap motion today.
Yeah, a lot of pre-snap motion for the Birds, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. That's refreshing.
And they played more Drake than Kendrick. Okay. So
okay. So the Eagles are a Drake team.
Drake team, I guess.
I bet you Darius Slay was leading that charge. Quinion Mitchell, by the way, also has not signed his contract, so he is there partaking in OTAs. Ran with the second team most of the day, made a couple of plays on the ball. Jalen Hurts has targeted Paris Campbell a lot. Devin White with good coverage and a pass breakup on a Hurts throw to Saquon Barkley, who ran a wheel route to the corner of the end zone. Again, Eagles have not had a linebacker as physically gifted as Devin White in a really long time. Paris Campbell also with a nice contested catch. A lot of people at practice impressed by him today. Can he finally stay healthy? That's my big question with Paris Campbell. All right, here's our Super Chat menu. If you want to say thank you, donate to the show, send us in a tip. $5, we'll do some smelling salts. $10, an Eagles chant. $20, we'll crack a drink. Even though it's early on a Wednesday, who cares? $50 for a beer bong. And then $100, if you support the show, we will send you a Cooper DeJean shirt. The thing with OTAs, too, some of the overreactions, like Dov Kleiman, who's a fraud, tweeted this out. Caleb Williams throwing darts to DJ Moore. The Bears are looking scary. Look, the Bears are a very improved football team. I think Caleb Williams is going to be successful at the next level. DJ Moore is like a poor man's Deebo Samuel, really good player. But really, in non-padded practices, we're going to say, Bears looking scary. He's throwing against air, man. It was a simple out route.
If he couldn't make it, I see this clip now. If he's not making that pass, you got some things to be worried about.
I could make that pass. It's hilarious. All right, next up, we're going to round out the live show with the mailbag. Use hashtag Eagles. Send in a super chat. David Marcella. We'll include this on the mailbag as well and react to it. But we're also going to crack a drink for David Marcella.
Oh, wow, I like this.
We wouldn't lie to the people. I like the prediction here. Hurts 4K yards, 4K plus, 25 to 30 passing touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 2K, all-purpose yards. A.J. Brown, 1,300 to 1,700 yards. Devontae Smith, 1K to 1,300. Goddard, 700 to 900. What do you think? I like it a lot. Hurts at 4K, I think that one might be difficult just because I think Philadelphia could blow a lot of teams out. And if they have halftime leads, he's not going to throw a lot in the second half. Plus, you have Saquon Barkley. I do like 25 to 30 passing touchdowns. Barkley, I've said, is capable, if he's healthy, to surpass 2,000 all-purpose yards. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they've done that the last 2 years. And then Dallas Goedert, it's about time that he has 700 and 900 yards. I like it, David Marcella. Lord Buddy Bear, our guy, $5. I'm curious what smelling salts are. Oh, and as always, F. Tom Fumble Brady. F. Tom Brady. I love him for his health and wellness. I love him for his greatness. But F. Tom Brady. Smelling salts are, what is it, ammonia?
Yes.
It's like ammonia tablets, where it's like that really strong scent. Now, you know how on NFL sidelines they have like those little tablets? You break them, you sniff them, and it's like, whoa, this is a powder that you put water in, and it's like powderized ammonia. Woo! And it just, woo, wakes you up.
Give you that kick.
Gives you that kick. It's like a little cup of coffee without having to drink coffee.
Coffee.
All right, hashtag Eagles. Or send in a super chat. Eugene Snyder, what is the meaning behind DeJean? So in Philadelphia, one of the slang words is John. John can be anything. It can be a person, like that John is fire, that John is hot. It could be food, that John tastes good. It could be a drink, that John fire, that John tastes good. A John is just a thing. Like Angela G, one of our loyal subscribers, she drew me this John. So Cooper DeJean, it's a play on the Philadelphia slang word, John. So DeJean. Get my drift? See what I'm saying? A lot of people from Philadelphia understand that. But Eugene, we're happy to break it down for you. John is a way of life from Tri-State Music. Exactly.
There you go. It's whatever you want it to be, baby.
It's that John life. Know what I'm saying? If we get to $100 in Super Chats, by the way, I will shotgun.
Ooh, on a Wednesday.
We are 60 away. Jay, Brett, this is great. John is a noun, a person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
We're back to school. John is a person, place, or thing. That's it.
Teaching the people up a little bit on a Wednesday.
Everybody type John life down in the chat. Tri-State Music got that started. In my hood, that's where it started for me. My young John and my side John from BMX. Exactly. It can be a fine-looking female. My John piece.
Man, you see that John over there, man?
Chip's John just graduated Temple.
Yeah.
The graduation photo Johns were on IG last night.
Them Johns is fire.
Those Johns were fire. There you go. Hashtag Eagles. Send in a super chat. G Heaven, fly John, fly. And hopefully Cooper DeJean is flying for the birds this upcoming year, no pun intended. David Marcella, John life. All right, we're going to round out with the mailbag. Let's get your questions in, and let's take your questions. Hashtag Eagles, send in a super chat. How we doing on that front there, Chip? We're good? All right. You send in a super chat during this mailbag. We'll answer it ASAP. The hitman for hire. John, that must be a Pennsylvania thing. Yes, it is. It's a Philly thing. Not really a Pennsylvania thing. Like, I've traveled to Pittsburgh. I worked in Scranton. People didn't say John there. It's a Philly thing. Ryan Rowe, Claude Butler, John Life, Andrew Nathan, $5 super chat. We'll answer that here in this mailbag very quickly. Eagles Now mailbag coming up live here on the show. Let's get it. What's happening? What's up? You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for tuning into the program here today. And on the show, we open up the floor and we hear from our loyal subscribers and all of our real ones taking your questions, your comments, and your hot takes pertaining to the Birds as we talk all things Philadelphia Eagles. And we start off with a longtime viewer of the show who supported us for a long time. That is Andrew Nathan. Do you think that Howie Roseman could make a move at wide receiver for depth, like trading for Treylon Burks or John Mechie? Your thoughts? Very interesting scenario here. Interesting question and talking point, because on Monday, Devontae Parker decided to retire. And I saw some jokes in the comment section. He knew he wasn't going to make the team, so he called it quits. OTA's about to get underway. He probably realized he doesn't have it. What he said, he just wants to spend more time with his family. He's got multiple kids. He's been in the league for a little while. And I wasn't sure that he was definitely going to make the squad or not. But it does put into question the wide receiver depth behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And I think Philadelphia might have to make a move here. Now, during the first open practice of OTAs on Wednesday, it was Paris Campbell who was lining up in the slot, and Jalen Hurts was targeting him a lot. And he ran a 4.3 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process coming out of Ohio State. Indianapolis Colts took him in the second round. He's been injured so much. What's interesting about Paris Campbell, he's not small like a Deshaun Jackson, an Xavier Worthy, or a John Ross. He has some decent size to him. If he can stay healthy, he can be an intriguing option because he has that vertical speed, and that's a great compliment alongside Brown and Devontae Smith. I think the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman, though, could have a major move in store to address that wide receiver 3 position. Treylon Burks is interesting because he has so much size, physicality, and moves well. I loved him coming out of Arkansas as that Deebo Samuel type of player who wasn't an outside guy, but you put him in the slot, he's going to be able to win mismatches. He's going to be overwhelming for smaller nickels and some linebackers. You use them on jet sweeps and on reverses, end arounds. You find creative ways to get him the football. Up to this point, he has been a massive disappointment for Tennessee. The issue, too, with him is the money that he's owed. He was a first-round pick. So that's a little bit of a pricey trade for Philadelphia, potentially. John Mechie, what he did at Alabama, very impressive. He, too, has some pretty solid speed. I would kick the tires, though, on a player like Burks or Mechie. The Eagles as an organization, they're an organization that can sometimes take these players who don't work out for other teams, and they can work out for Philadelphia because they have a quality culture. Wide receiver 3 trade, would not rule it out just because of the health concerns with Paris Campbell. Next up, David Marcella. He makes a prediction here, and this is why you subscribe to the show and you tune in, because you can make your predictions here on the program as well. He says Jalen Hurts throws for 4,000 plus yards, 25 to 30 passing touchdowns. He likes Saquon Barkley to have more than 2,000 all purpose. A.J. Brown, 1,300 to 1,700 yards receiving. And then Devontae Smith, 1,000 to 1,300, with Dallas Goedert having 700 to 900. I think that Saquon Barkley, if he stays healthy, can be to the Eagles what Christian McCaffrey has been to the Niners. And what did Christian McCaffrey do last year for the number 1 overall offense in the NFL and the Niners? Yeah, I get it. They still have a lot of weapons. Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. He still had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards. So just because Philadelphia is loaded with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley can still be utilized in a variety of ways to the point where he can have 2,000 all-purpose yards if he stays healthy. I like that a lot. As for A.J. Brown, the last 2 years, he's come close to 1,500 yards. There's no reason why he can't duplicate that again. Devontae Smith, the last couple of years, he's been right around that 1,000-yard mark. I love it, and it's time for Dallas Goedert to pop off. I think that he can do that with Kellen Moore, calling and designing the play. 700 and 900. He's hovered before between 500, 600, 700, and 900 is a good number. What I'm not sure about, and I think that Hurts can throw for 25 to 30 passing touchdowns, is the 4,000 passing yards. I think Philadelphia, because of their schedule, because of the way that they're built, they might win sizably against a lot of teams so that they run it a lot later in games, which then takes away from the total passing yards from Jalen Hurts. Also, I think they want to have a balanced offense under Kellen Moore, so it could be hard for Hurts to hit 4K passing yards. But Marcella, I love it. I even like that profile picture. I love that profile picture with the flag and the turnover chain that you want by being a loyal viewer here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Sean Harding, let's go to his $10 super chat. Longtime fan from Olney, watching from Arizona. Appreciate that, brother. Love the work that y'all do. Thank you. Would love to hear how you think the Birds plan to play this season with these new weapons that they have. Go Birds. Yeah, so Saquon, I'm just so excited to see what he can do because of his natural ability. He's finally going to be running behind a competent offensive line. The Giants haven't even been competent. And the Eagles the last 2 years, as far as run block win rate, have been a top 3, top 5 team. And they have a really good offensive line, even without Jason Kelce. That's going to help Saquon. And then the Giants also criminally underutilized Saquon Barkley in their red zone, but also as a pass catcher. So I want to see Saquon, again, used like Christian McCaffrey, catching balls out of the backfield, running the football everywhere, lining up out of the slot. Find ways to get your weapon the football. Ania Smith, Johnny Wilson, we'll see what types of opportunities they have. Paris Campbell, again, 4.3 speed. It comes down to him being able to stay healthy. Those are kind of all of the weapons on the offensive side. On the defensive side, Bryce Huff, 10 sacks last year. Now you're getting paid big-time dough. Can you duplicate that? Nolan Smith, not a new addition, but can he break out as a sophomore? Devin White, get back to that all-pro form. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, welcome back. Quinion Mitchell-Cooper DeJean, can they impact the game as rookies? I just can't wait for it. Andrew Nathan, $5 super chat. Hey guys, I saw on X that some reporters believe that Howie should trade for defensive tackle Jonathan Allen. What would be the comp as far as the compensation? Possibly a third. Your thoughts? Jonathan Allen's a good player. I'm going to look up his numbers right here because he's been a good player for a long time. Also have to look at what his compensation is as far as the money that he's making. He's 29 years old. Really good defensive tackle for the Commanders. First round pick, 17th overall, 2017 draft. Very consistent production throughout his career. 8 sacks his second year in 2018, followed by 6, 2, 9, 7.5, 5.5. He was a Pro Bowler in 2021 and in 2022. His Pro Football Focus grades, not good last year against the run, only 37.9 overall grade of 59.7, but a pass rushing grade of 77.6. He had 30 hurries, 49 total pressures. What concerns me is that Vic Fangio's defense already allows chunks to be picked up against the run because they don't want to give up explosive plays in the pass game. So sometimes they're susceptible to letting teams churn it out in the ground game. Jonathan Allen is not going to help you there. Also, how would he be a scheme fit for what we expect to be a 3-4 front for Philadelphia? Now, Jonathan Allen and Jalen Carter and Milton Williams, as well as Jordan Davis, of course. That's a good defensive tackle rotation. But Jonathan Allen's also making a lot of money. So I'm not sure that Howie would pull the trigger here. Maybe Washington could eat some of that money, but Jonathan Allen is due $15.5 million. Has a cap hit in 2024 of $21.4 million. Expensive player. Our guy Paul, Louisiana Paul. Did you get your Jalen Hurts jersey? Let me know, brother. I really think both receivers drafted are busts. Johnny, more of a tight end like Jimmy Graham. I think signing another wide receiver, the smartest decision. Yeah, Johnny Wilson is 6'6", but he plays smaller, struggles with drops, doesn't create separation, and isn't a great route runner. That's not a great combination. But with this 40-yard dash speed at that size, you are intrigued by the size component. And you'll take a chance on a player like that late. It was a late round pick. If it doesn't work out, you took a flyer on a player who has some insane physical gifts. But he definitely has to get better, and he's definitely raw. And we'll certainly see if that development can take place with Philadelphia. As far as Ainias Smith, he's been a favorite of Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff over the last couple of years. He's only 5'8", 5'9". He only clocked about a 4.5, 40-yard dash. That's a problem, but he has short area quickness and short area burst, so he can make people miss in a phone booth. Paul said never got the jersey. It should be on its way because I did put it in the system. By the way, Fanatics, sometimes takes a little while to get you your jersey. So get yours right now if you want to hop on board to get a Quinion Mitchell jersey, because you can get it at this point before the start of the regular season. Chatsports.com/Quinion. Jerseys available right now for the first round pick for Philadelphia. And if you use that link down below, by the way, you can also get other Eagles jerseys, which are on sale right now because it's the offseason. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Millie315, what positions are you most excited to see battle for starting spots in training camp? I'm excited to see the battles at slot, wide receiver 3. Yeah, so Paris Campbell getting the first crack, as we predicted, at wide receiver 3 alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So I'm excited to see who wins that battle. Off-ball linebacker next to Devin White. Will it be Zach Bond or Nakobe Dean? Right guard, I imagine it's going to be Tyler Steen. But if he falls on his face, does Matt Hennessy or Trevor Keegan take over? Backup tight end, I think, is a sneaky good one behind Dallas Goedert, Albert Okwuegbunam, Grant Calcaterra, C.J. Uzama. Who's the starting corner opposite of Darius Slay? Will it be Isaiah Rodgers, James Bradbury, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Quinion Mitchell, or Cooper DeJean? Who starts in the slot? Cooper DeJean was getting second-string slot reps with Quinion Mitchell second-string outside corner reps. No James Bradbury at OTAs this week, so on the outside it was Rodgers and Slay with Maddox on the inside. And then safety. And then let me throw this out there. Who's going to be the team's punt returner and kick returner? Britton Covey has been trusted. He's been sure-handed. Last year and a half, he's been one of the best statistical punt returners in the NFL. The Eagles love him, but he doesn't contribute really outside of special teams. Cooper DeJean and Ainias Smith are capable of being a punt returner, and they can contribute outside of special teams. And then for that same reason, who's going to be the team's kick returner? All good stuff. Tiffany Leaks. What's up, Tiff? Looking fresh in the profile picture. Love the hair. Love the shades. My mom had shorter, spiky hair, so I'm always drawn to that. Always think it looks good. What defensive player or players do you see having a breakout year? Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, I hope Jordan Davis. Milton Williams, I think, is criminally underrated. I think Devin White finds his stride. Those are 5 players right there, I think, who could break out under Vic Fangio this year in 2024. Aaron Charles, what expectations for Josh Sweat this season? So he got that contract restructured, was not there at the public practice on Wednesday at Eagles OTAs. 2 years ago, had those 11 sacks and had a breakout year. How does he fit into Vic Fangio's scheme? Because I think he's more of a traditional 4-3 defensive end, and now Vic Fangio is probably going to be running a 3-4. So I'm curious to see how Josh Sweat plays in this scheme and how he looks overall, because at the end of last year, his play fell off a cliff where he went on that sack drought up until the wild card round. Eagles are going to need to get a consistent pass rush, though, without Haason Reddick. And Josh Sweat going to have to be a part of that. Jason Russell, is Hurts going to be able to see the blitz better with Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator? I think so, and here's why. Kellen Moore is going to have a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of shifts, a lot of creative personnel packages, and that's just going to help out Jalen Hurts with the pre-snap reads and recognition of what the defense is doing. Because think about this. Something as simple as this is something that the Eagles did not do last year. When you have a wide receiver or any player in motion and a defensive player follows that player, that usually signifies that the defense is lined up in man. If they don't trail that player, usually signifies zone. So when the Eagles didn't do that, Jalen Hurts didn't know if the defense was in zone or man. And also got confused by some of the blitzes that came his way. I think Kellen Moore is going to make his job easier. There also weren't hots and answers to the blitzes. With this Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson offense last year, it's not going to happen with Kellen Moore. Good question there, Jason. David Marcella, how impactful do you think Will Shipley will be? And will Kenny Gainwell take touches away from Barkley? So I think that Will Shipley can be impactful as a rookie because he has third down running back components where he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not a good pass protector, though. That could be an issue. Kenny Gainwell is, and as we've seen, especially last year, Eagles utilize Kenny Gainwell as that third down back because he is good at pass protection and can catch the football. I think there's going to be a running back rotation and a healthy one at that, and that's a good thing to have with Saquon, Shipley, and Gainwell. Some Black Ninja, Chase and Chip, what are your win-loss totals for this year? Go Birds. I said 12-5. I think the Eagles go 12-5. It's a record that I think is realistic. It's a record that's really good. It's a record that got the Niners the number 1 seed last year. I like 12-5. My boy Chip, what do you think about the Eagles record here for 2024?
When I do this, I like to look at the schedule like in segments,
yes,
sort of. So let's see. Those first 4: Green Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. I think you go 3-1.
I like it.
You have your bye: Cleveland, New York, Cincinnati, Jacksonville. I can see them going 2-2.
Yep.
So what? 5-3.
Yep.
Dallas, Washington, Rams, Baltimore. I think another 2-2 stretch. So 7-5, right?
Which is fine.
And then you win Carolina, Pittsburgh, Washington, Dallas, New York.
You can win out.
I think you can win out. I think you can go 4-1. So I was at 7-5, 4-1. So I have 11-6.
11-6, 12-5.
Yeah, I think anything from 11, 10 on the low end to as high as 12, 13 is realistic. It's not that bad of a schedule.
Yeah. 11 to 13 wins. I think within that range. Let me take a look. What's the Eagles over/under win total for 2024? What do the books have? 10.5. So I like the over there a lot. 10.5, I'm smashing the over. Some Black Ninja. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you can be a part of our mailbags and you don't miss our coverage every single day on the EAGLES. Thanks for your support. All right, a great live show today. 3 segments down. Some really good content. D. Aldridge saying facts. BMX Beak. Pre-snap motion triggers a reaction from the defense, forcing them to show their hand and give Hurts a glimpse of what he's looking at, opposed to no pre-snap motion last year. That's what I'm saying, brother. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, all the best offenses use it, so copycat league, baby. If it works, then use it.
All right. More updates from OTAs. Darius Slay says he feels great after a knee injury last year. Said some of the other players wanted to race him. Guess who won? The 33-year-old. The wheels are back from Big Play Slay. Said it's important for him to be at voluntary OTAs because he wants the younger corners to see he is there for them and to help them adjust to the NFL. There's a difference between Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Darius Slay said Quinion Mitchell reached out to him after he was drafted by the Eagles, and Slay said, whatever you need, let's get it. Slay on Mitchell's game, quick twitch, love his off-man coverage. Quinion Mitchell, a couple of pass breakups today. Saquon Barkley, there's a lot of talent. I feel like we can do something special, but that's a ways away. I believe I'm a leader. There's a whole bunch of leaders here. I feel like I can help. Jalen Carter, a lot of offseason focus has been on conditioning with Fletcher Cox's retirement and his snaps expected to increase. Looks like he's rocking some cornrows this year. Saquon says he's been golfing with a lot of his teammates. One of his main golf buddies is Kenny Pickett. Jokes that Pickett has picked it up quickly and is already breaking 100.
Saquon and Kenny Pickett golfing. Love to see it.
What stood out to Saquon on playing in this offense? The first huddle in seeing A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Hurts. He said, not a bad group of guys. Yeah, not bad at all. Jalen Carter, after Vic Fangio got ripped by Javon Holland, safety for the Dolphins yesterday. I love Vic. I'm all about old school football, hard work. I'm ready to be coached. I love it, baby.
Exactly.
I love it,
that's
baby.
What you were saying is like, you know, you call him a bad person. I just think some of the guys in the Dolphins didn't like to be coached up hard. You were saying it like it's a different brand of football, baby.
Jalen Carter. Football is my job. I'm ready to play 24/7. I could do it all day long.
There we go.
Let's go.
DPOY?
Defensive
DPOY?
Player of the Year. Yeah, and John Clark, as Chip said earlier, saw a lot of motion with the Eagles offense under Kellen Moore.
Nice.
Little Jalen Hurts option with Saquon with Hurts running it. It was Hurts taking the snap out of the shotgun. Jarvin Graves, $5 super chat, his third ever super chat here on the show. We'll do some smelling salts for Jarvin.
Jarvin!
Woo! Jarvin, 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 Jarvin. All right, we're up to $67 in super chats. If you want to extend the show, send in a super chat within the next 2 minutes.
On the clock.
And if we get to 100, I'll shotgun. Here's another sip. I think I owed one to David Marcella.
We got a 10-2 from Paul, so you know what that means, baby.
Oh, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Let's go.
Lord Buddy Bear, hey, that's the tune. That's to the tune of...
Oh, F. Sam.
Of F. Sam that Mitch does on Raiders. F. Sam, F. Sam, F. Sam, F. Sam. BMX, youth equals coachable, speed, strength versus old equaling knows it all, slow and weaker. I like that BMX because the Eagles, I know before the draft, they got 3 years younger average age on their defense, and then they drafted young defensive players. So they got younger. Minute 12 and counting on the clock. If you want to extend this show, send in a super chat. If not, we'll sign off, call it a day. It's been awesome today, man.
Yeah.
Hadn't been live since the NFL draft. We go live for some OTA updates. It's awesome.
Great stuff. Can't believe it's almost June, man.
Almost June.
Almost June.
Almost
you know
month
means?
6.
June, July, August. We're getting close, baby. We're getting close. Really is year-round NFL's become. It's awesome. Always stuff to talk about, always stuff to be excited about. Where's Ringo going to be in the cornerback room? Well, if he's not showing up to OTAs, I don't know. It's a crowded room. Crowded room. Obviously got some experience last year, but bringing in two young guys, Ringo gonna have to fight.
Get it. All right, 2 minutes expired on the Super Chat shot clock. All good. Great show today. Hope everybody enjoyed the content. I did. Chip did. Hope you all did as well. We will be live once again next week. We'll continue to go live once a week throughout the offseason here. Breaking news happens. We'll, of course, go live for that. Still content every single day. And to talk about some Eagles football today. The roster, position battles, taking a look at some videos of the Eagles on the practice field. Inject it into my veins, baby. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the Bird Gang here and all of the real ones on Eagles Now, enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays. We out. See ya.